Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayo Kishore Kishore Jayo Kishore Kishore Jayo Kishore Kishore Jayo Kishore Kishore Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Hari Gaur Premanande Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parirajikara Stotra Sata Simul Divine Grace Sri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parirajikara Stotra Sata Simul Divine Grace Bhakti Vedanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Granthara Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai Gaur Premanande All glory to assembled devotees, all glory to assembled devotees, all glory to Shri Guru Angara, all glory to Srila Prabhupada Ki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nasta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is there. 10th 10th Canto, Chapter 11, Text 28 and 29. Thank you. Vanam Vrindavanam Nama Pavsyam Navakananam Gopa Gopi Gava Sevyam Punyadri Trinavrindadum Vanam Vrindavanam Nama Pasyavam Navakananam Gopa Gopi Gavam Sevyam Punyadri Trinavirudhanam Vanam Vrindavanam Nama Pasyavam Navakananam Gopa Gopi Gavam Sevyam Punyadri Trinavirudhanam. Listen. Vanam Vrindavanam Punyadri Trinavirudhanam. Vanam Vrindavanam Nama Pasyavam Navakaranam Gopa Gopi Gavam Sevyam Punyadri Trinavirutam. What meaning? Vanam, another forest. Vrindavanam Nama, named Vrindavana. Pasyavam, a very suitable place for maintenance of the cows and the other animals. Navakananam, there are many new garden-like places. Gopa Gopi Gavyam, for all the cowherdmen, the members of their families and the cows. Sevyam, very happy, a very suitable place. Punyadri, there are nice mountains. Trina, plants. Virudham, and the creepers. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Between the Nandeshwara and Mahavan is a place named Vrindavan. This place is very suitable because it is lush with the grass, plants, and the creepers for the cows and their other animals. It has nicely garden and tall mountains and is full of facilities for the happiness of all the gopas and the gopis and our animals. Purport. Vrindavan is situated between the Nandeshwara and Mahavan. Formerly, the cowherdmen had shifted to Mahavan, but still there were disturbances. Therefore, the cowherdmen selected Vrindavana, which was between the two villages, decided to go there. And that's text 29. Just reading the translation. Therefore, let us immediately go today. There is no need to wait any further. If you agree to my proposal, let us prepare all the bullock carts and put the cows in front of us and let's go there. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gnananjanam Shalakaya Chakshurunmritam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vacharam Pangum Langate Girim Yatkripatamaham Vande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadandikam Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pastyasya Deshacharini Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So, very short purport and translation. This was a discussion going on between the in Vrindavan. The people are thinking from the Gokula. They were thinking they can move from Gokula to go to Vrindavan, because their center point is Krishna, how to protect Krishna and Balaram and their cows. In India, there are 6,38,596 villages. Out of that, why Vrindavan is so special? Because where Krishna has taken birth in that place. So Krishna, whatever the desires of Lord Krishna, it is between his devotees, whatever their desires is. So one should think about that. The Krishna's desires, his willings to harmonize with our desires. So that's why there are people they're concerned about the Krishna's protection. And also they are concerned about the cows, because cows are the main backbone for human society. It is the main agenda for them to protect the cows. One may ask question, there are so many wonderful animals, why Krishna likes cows only? Because there are so many wonderful animals like peacock and everything, and other beautiful animals like horse. Why Krishna is only concerned about cows? Because it is his free will. Krishna is also a person. We cannot say that Krishna should not like this, Krishna should only like this. We cannot demand, because he is also a person like us, and it was very not conducive for me cultivating spiritual activities, and it is so much disturbance was going on. Mother Earth took the form of cow and went to the Krishna and asked for descendant on this planet. So for Krishna, that reason, he became as a protector of the Krishna, Gopala. So for that reason, Krishna likes the cow. And their purpose is one, how to protect the culture of the human society. If you want to protect the culture of human society, first of all protect the cow. So when Britishers came to India, they just want to destroy the culture. To destroy the culture of the Indian society, first they started killing the cows. That's how destruction begins. So first of all, they're concerned not only of the cows and protection of the Krishna and Balaram. Their only main focus is how to protect Krishna and Balaram and how to protect cows. So that should be the ideal society. For example, there's so many people shift from one place to another place. Like if you're working somewhere, your job get transferred. So you go to one place to another place, but you're nearly not concerned about the animals. But Whereas in the very cultured human society, they are concerned about the people and the animals. But these animals is also taking care. In the purport, it is mentioned why only Vrindavan, because there is nice green grass and also high hill mountains. So they think about both the parties, both the how to protect the animals and the people. That's why they are moving. And whereas Krishna descendants on the earth, when there is a disturbance, at that time Krishna descendants on the earth. But whereas we are seeing here, Krishna is moving away from Gokula to Vrindavan, where the disturbance is happening, keep on coming. The Vrinda in the Gokula, first Putana came, and one after another disturbances are coming. But still, he wants to go to Vrindavan. One may ask, Krishna is you are saying Krishna is a protector of everyone. How can he cannot protect her from himself? Yeah, that's a good question. But Krishna has got his own free will. He is thinking that if I stay in Gokulam, I cannot enjoy the pastimes of the in Vrindavan, where the Govardhana hill is there, and all the pastimes can be taken care. So Krishna has got his own free will. That's why he is moving. One cannot say that Krishna cannot protect himself. No, because he has desire. Like us, we have many desires and we have many likes and dislikes, and he has also many desires. So that's why he wants to do something, some pastimes in Vrindavan. So that's why he is wanting to move from Gokula to Vrindavan, where he can perform a number of pastimes. And it's not external desire, it's an internal desire of Krishna, where the desire is harmonized between his devotees and himself. And devotees also desire so many things, but sometimes it happens, doesn't happen. For example, we think that we planned everything for starting Rath Yatra at 1 o'clock, but it will begin at 3 o'clock. It's nothing but Krishna's desire. Krishna wants to start at 3 o'clock. But we cannot say that why we are planned everything, because we are not a controller ultimately. We have many times, we should not plan. That doesn't mean that we should not plan, but we should plan. But we should think that we are not a controller of everything. Krishna is a controller of everything. And in the disturbance, Krishna appears and creates harmony and creates peace in that disturbance. For example, where the Bhagavad Gita was spoken between the two parties, Kauravas and Pandavas. So there's so much disturbance is going on. In that place, Bhagavad Gita was spoken. And whereas Srimad Bhagavatam came disturbance of Parikshit Maharaj. And there are so many incidents where the disturbances are coming, they disappeared. There are many devotees who say that there are so many disturbances, so many things are going on in our life. But when you have to patiently take the shelter of the holy name and patiently take shelter of the Shastra's reading, then all the disturbances will be gone. Because Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. So whenever the disturbances they appear, then at that time I will appear and I will diminish the demons and protect the Brahmanas. So where Krishna is saying all these things, and at the same time he is acting according to his own free will. It's not that as soon as disturbance comes and he will come and listen. No. Whenever he likes to come and whenever he wants to, whatever activity he wants to do, he will be doing. And one cannot ask anything, one cannot question. He is a protector of everything, but there are so many disturbances happening around the world. Why can't he come now? Because he is coming through the holy name, through the Shastras, and people are not ready to accept that. Krishna, when he came in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he did not kill anybody. He just killed the internal desires, demons. And when he was about to kill the Jagai and Madai, when they hit the Lord Nityananda, they are about to kill. Then Lord Nityananda so mercifully stopped them, stopped Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they told and reminded his movement. What is the purpose of the coming? To not to kill anybody in this age of Kali, to kill the desires which are internal desires. So one should cultivate these habits of having patience and depending on the free will of the God. And at the same time, one should, wherever there is pastimes in the Bhagavatam and in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and also when Srila Prabhupada came in the Western world, there's so much disturbances, and he still patiently continued the devotional service and patiently continued what he was asked to do. Then naturally those disturbances has gone. After establishing the movement, once dacoits attacked with the pipe bombs to our temple. At that time, Srila Prabhupada saw that so much disturbance was going on, and at that time he introduced nourishing prayers, and he asked the devotees to write it down, and he taught them how to chant and make everybody all the devotees do by heart these nourishing prayers. So one should not worry about the disturbances which are happening, but one should take the shelter of the holy name. And whereas Lord Nrsingadev is especially meant for the protection of the devotees. One may think that whereas Prahlad Maharaj underwent severe disturbances and many problems in his life, one may not take up the devotional service. We may also think that, if I become a devotee, I will also be facing the same kind of problems. No, it is us to show that Prahlad Maharaj underwent so many disturbances in his life from his father, but still he did not give up his devotional service. But whereas we are not in that stage of Prahlad Maharaj, and nobody is causing that much of disturbances, we may come across some disturbances in our life, but still our determination should never go down. Once Srila Prabhupada was asked by a devotee, Srila Prabhupada, I am not determined, so what should I do? Then Srila Prabhupada replied, you should continue to be determined. Then again the devotee thought that maybe Prabhupada did not understood. He explained in very broad way, Prabhupada, I am not able to follow this rule. How can I be determined? Then Srila Prabhupada said that if you are not determined, you are like an animal. This is a very strong statement. And after hearing this statement, then the devotee changed in his life. So once Srila Prabhupada asked a devotee to go to preach in some country and establish and open a new center. But after so many years, the devotee is turned to be in Vrindavan. And Srila Prabhupada asked, what happened? I told you to start the center at particular state. Why you are here in Vrindavan? And that's why I closed that center and came back to Vrindavan. Then Prabhupada said, just because of so many disturbances you came to Vrindavan, I should not name you as Krishna Das, I should name you as Maya Das. So, why? Because if some disturbances are coming, that doesn't mean that you should give up and come back to the Vrindavan. So, and even in the Vrindavan, if you stay there, even you cannot be peace in the mind. Whereas Saubhari Muni, even he came to Vrindavan to perfection his life and to achieve to achieve some goal in his life. He underwent severe penance. One cannot practically do that. He did many years of tapas, not on the land. He went inside the water, and for many years. Why? To achieve his goal. But by seeing two fishes are meeting. He just got, by that he got out from the water, and the desires were flowing from his heart, and he got out of Vrindavan. Because that means there are two reasons. One, Vishwanath Chakravarti says that since he offended Garudam, that's why. And another reason is he did not take the completely shelter of the devotional service. And whereas we see Dhruva Maharaj, he also came to Vrindavan to do tapasya, but he achieved perfection. Dhruva Maharaj. So Dhruva Maharaj also, though he came for the material desires, though he wanting to achieve the kingdom greater than his grandfather, but he completely took the shelter of the holy name and completely taken shelter of the devotional service, because he has a guidance of Narada Muni. Because there's so many people, they come to Vrindavan and they go for Vrindavan to achieve something, but due to disturbances they will come back again. Because one thing is sure for sure, wherever you go in this world, your mind and intelligence will follow you. No matter you go from west to east, east to west, or Vrindavan to Mayapur, Mayapur to Vrindavan, but still you carry your own mind and intelligence. That is very, very difficult to give up. But one should take the shelter of the devotees and the guidance, and then only they can overcome. No matter wherever you are, you can still practice. We may think that only if we go to Vrindavan, then only we can have nice devotional service. No. Wherever you are chanting the holy name, it's nothing but Vrindavan. Wherever the Krishna's deities are there is Vrindavan. Once Srila Prabhupada was in the Paris with his disciples, walking with a heavy walking where there is so much traffic going on, and there's so many people are yelling, and there's so much disturbances were thinking. Once at that time, Srila Prabhupada paused up for a moment, and he thought, okay, he closed his eyes and he took a deep breath, and he told, this is Vrindavan. But actually, Srila Prabhupada is not in Vrindavan, he is in Paris. But he remembered Vrindavan. And another time, Srila Prabhupada was sitting in the park, and some disciples brought chadar to sit on it. And Srila Prabhupada told, why you are bringing chadar? I am sitting on the lap of Krishna. So, but actually not, but he is sitting on the grass. But that's potency of the pure devotee. So wherever they are, wherever he is, and whatever he is practicing, then still he can perceive the Vrindavan presence. And by this example, we can see that we can also think that not only going to Vrindavan practicing devotional service, but when we see Kishore Kishori, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Mai, Gaur Nitai, it is the presence of Vrindavan. But when actually if you go to Vrindavan and practice devotional service, it is very difficult for us. Because one cannot survive more than there is so much heat here, and so much disturbances are going on here, so much traffic. Then they'll identify themselves as external things, and they think that this is not a Vrindavan. No. And they will go to some bushes and they will practice. They will think that no, I will go to near Govardhan where the forest is there. And you find in the Govardhan there are so many people, pilgrimages are coming, and they are making that using things like they will drinking water, throwing the plastic bottles there, and you see there is so much garbage in this Govardhan also. And you find everywhere, and you started offending the devotees there, and you started ending up Dhamma Parad there, and you see identify everybody as these people are not practicing devotional service, they are just doing business. You see ending up there. Unless until you don't have a proper guidance, you cannot stay in Vrindavan, because Vrindavan is where Krishna is eternally doing his pastimes. where you cannot go is just like if you cannot go to somebody's bedroom and start complaining, this is not good, this is not good, and what is this your room. You cannot go into private compartment and start complaining about that person's lifestyle, because that is where he wants to be, that's where he wants to look like to be. That's why he had made his own home to look like this. But you may not like that, that is not his problem, that is your problem. Because when you go to Vrindavan, you may not like that, you may not like this, but that is not Krishna's problem, that is your problem. Because in mature state, you will end up in Vrindavan and doing all kind of offenses from your devotional service. But one point is that wherever the disturbances causes by the demons, then if you take up the devotional service and completely and take the guidance of the spiritual master, then we cannot have peace in our life. When you hear Bhagavatam or attend Bhagavatam classes, those disturbances will be gone. Once the devotee was making a fun, why do people sleep in the Bhagavatam class? Then he mentioned that only in the Bhagavatam class, why do people sleep? Because there are so many disturbances in the heart. That's the funny part of it. So due to disturbances in the heart, how can you sleep in the night? And when the Bhagavatam class comes, Jai Radha Madhava starts, and slowly get into anesthesia. Then you will feeling slowly sleeping. So this was the thing. That's why when you attend every day regular Bhagavatam classes and hear Bhagavatam lecture or read Bhagavatam, you find yourself all the disturbances are gone. Whatever the disturbances you were before, whatever creating disturbances was there in your mind, as soon as you open the Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, then immediately you can find yourself that is insignificant. It's just like when you are boarding into a flight, you see all the big buildings around you, all the tall buildings. As soon as the flight take off from the airport, you see those big buildings are very tiny and small. So similarly, as soon as you take off your mind platform from material to spiritual, then all the problems look as insignificant. So we'll stop here, 8 o'clock. If we see any questions or comments.
Let me see my note. Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for your class. You made a lot of very wonderful points. Where are my notes? I really loved all your points, actually, and I'd like to briefly comment, and maybe you could expand on some of them. The points I appreciate is that you were saying wherever we are, it doesn't matter whether we're Vrindavan or New York City, as long as we're not hearing Krishna Katha, then we'll always be disturbed. So wherever there's Krishna Katha, that's Vrindavan. And if you're in Vrindavan without Krishna Katha, then you'll be disturbed. So what is the use of being in Vrindavan? So I appreciate that point. And two analogies came to mind. One is that, and there was a verse I came across recently that Jesus says, but Ramananda Roy also says that basically we see that you may be in New York, you may be California or Vrindavan, but if you don't eat food, then you'll always be disturbed. It doesn't matter where you go. And one thing that Jesus said, he says, man should not live on bread alone, but on every word that proceeds from the mouth of Almighty God. And I actually came across an exact verse, essentially, that was spoken by Ramananda Roy. I actually wrote it down. Let me see so I can share it with you guys. For a reference, I always love to give reference, but my notes are highly disorganized. All right, this verse is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya chapter 8, verse 69. Ramananda Roy says the same thing. He gives an analogy of eating food. Unless you eat food, you'll be disturbed. Unless you hear Krishna Katha, then you'll always be disturbed. And one other analogy that I really appreciate is that I guess it's in many places, but one place I could think of it is in Anshalila, chapter 5. The title of that chapter is called Praduma Mishra Takes Instructions from Ramananda Roy, actually. And in the first verse of that chapter, it mentions that I don't know who's the speaker, but basically it describes that the verse says, I'm suffering from the boils of envy, and Lord Chaitanya is the physician who gives the medicine. So we see that Vrindavan is like a hospital, but what is the use of a hospital if you don't take the medicine? And that's why Bhaktisiddhanta, he told Prabhupada, wherever you go, print the medicine, the books, because what is the use of a hospital if there's no hospitality? And he saw that among his disciples, they were fighting over the hospital. Why don't you fight over the hospitality, the medicine, and take it yourself and distribute it yourself? And so basically one last point I would like to mention, and maybe I have a question on, is that there's one verse that Shankar Pandit Prabhu told me to learn, and this is from the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi chapter 2, verse 117. It says, Siddhanta Baliya Chitte Nakara Alas, Iha Hoite Krishna Lage Sudrida Manas. One should not stray away from controversial subject matters because, or discussing Krishna Katha, even if they're considered controversial, because one, that develops one's attachment for Krishna. And in this verse, and I mean in the purport of this verse, Prabhupada mentions the word false devotee, I don't know how many times. And basically, Prabhupada describes false devotees that those who are not interested in quoting Shastra or hearing Shastra, but quote from their mind. Basically, he was like, we should be more concerned about our reference and less concerned about our preference. Our preference is quoting our mind. Our reference is quoting Shastra. So basically, my question is sometimes when we're associating with devotees, we may have some disagreements, especially when it comes to how I should go about managing my life. And especially if I'm living in a community, and you have some suggestions, but you don't have the position to really, make the final decision. So bear with me. I want to quote one last verse from Prabhupada that I appreciate. One point that you probably won't hear too often. Let me see. All right, here it is. This verse is from Canto 6, verse 14. Canto 6, chapter 14, verse 18. Prabhupada makes a very interesting point because sometimes there's disagreements between, devotees and those who are managing, different things, either a bhakta leader or, whoever the leader. And sometimes there's disagreements. And the tendency naturally is that, naturally the tendency that we usually hear is you should have a service attitude. I have this position of leadership and you don't, so have this service attitude, And sometimes, there's some disagreements. And so one thing I really appreciate what Prabhupada says in his purport of the 6th canto, chapter 14, verse 18. He says, a king or leader should not simply give orders to his dependents simply because he is supreme. Sometimes he must follow their instructions. So sometimes, what do you say to somebody, because that's not the natural tendency. The tendency we see in it, because we're conditioned souls, so the tendency is that I have this position, so I have the final say. But then if you don't see the results, what is the use of a kingdom if there's no subjects? If you see certain results, how about I may be in a lower position, it may or may not work, but how about sometimes we suggest it and implement it and see how it goes, but that's usually not the tendency. So what do you say to some people who are feeling dissatisfied in their Krishna consciousness because they're always kind of bulldozed because, oh, you don't have the service mentality, you don't have this position, sit down, shut up, be quiet, forget Sastra. How about, can I quote Sastra? No, forget Sastra, I have this position. So sometimes I've talked to many devotees, they have that tendency, and I don't think it's controversial at all, but Prabhupada says even if it is controversial, you should discuss it because it develops one's attachment for Krishna. So what do you say to somebody who has that mentality, how should, how can you know, because we can see that operas go on, then you lose your taste for Krishna Katha wherever your position. So how do we know we're making offenses because we're too attached to this upadi of being a leader? I have this title, so sit down, shut up, forget Sastra. How do I know if, how do we determine whether we're committing this opera from being too attached to this position?
Yeah. One thing is that whenever you tell somebody, we should, though you are a bhakta leader or some leaders, we should, it's not, you should in the mode of service attitude. That service attitude, when you tell somebody, like, can you do this, Prabhu, for me, then he will naturally do it. You don't have to instruct him, you don't have to behind him. Then naturally, if you have a relationship with him, naturally he will do it. If you don't have a relationship with him, even though you may be giving the highest devotional service to him, but he may not do. Because since you don't have a relationship with him, if you don't have a relationship with him, if you want to instruct some service to do, but he may not do, and that creates the disturbances in our life. One thing we should pray that we should pray to the Lord that we should harmonize our desires with the devotees' desires. When you harmonize our desires with the devotees' desire, devotional service, then naturally there will be no disturbances between the devotees and conflicts. And also what we should see, if some leaders are fighting, we should see that instance as some lila, some pastime. Then only our mind will not make an offenses to the devotees. If for example, we say A leader and B leaders are fighting, and a neophyte is watching, and he thinks that, oh, these people are chanting Hare Krishna and they follow everything, and still they fight, then what is the point of chanting Hare Krishna? I will also give up. But who is losing here? The new person is losing here. The neophyte devotee is losing here. They may fight today, and they may become the best friends tomorrow, because that is between them and Krishna. We don't know what's happening with them. If you interfere and if you're trying to solve the problem, that means you are envy of Krishna. Because how we can be envy of Krishna is, like, Krishna is a controller of everything and everybody. Krishna wants some purification happens between those two parties. That's why he's created the situation. And if you enter and if you are trying to become a controller of that, you are indirectly showing envy towards the Lord. And again, instead of solving the problem, you're making a big problem. You're landing up a big problem and creating more havoc. And what happened? Those disturbances create disturbances in their community, create disturbances in those people, and create disturbances in your life. When you have disturbances going in your life, you cannot execute any devotional service properly. And you think always, this is happening to me, this is happening to me. So whenever this disturbance is happening, you just forgive and forget. Otherwise you cannot live next day. Just like we eat so many things today, and next day you pass on, right? You pass out everything. You don't carry in the stomach, right? Similarly, whatever the disturbances are coming, you just let it go. Then new day will be there for you. You don't carry those impressions in your mind and you do devotional service. Just like if somebody said something if you drive a wrong way, somebody abused you, you don't think of him all the day and night. Why did he say like that? I will take a revenge on him. You don't meditate upon him. You just forgive and forget. And you carry on to the next part of your life. If you're still stuck up in the past and you cannot live in the present and you cannot perform any activity in the future, your present and future will be spoiled. So just see as a pastime, and just you don't have to interfere, because since you don't have a relationship with him, if you have a relationship with him, you should tell him in the service attitude. If he listens, for his benefit. If he doesn't listen, you should think that, okay, I am not the controller. Even when Krishna was there in the planet, he was trying to convince Kauravas and the Pandavas, and whatever the Pandavas said, the Pandavas are satisfied with the 5 villages. And the point, he wants to be a negotiator, and he went to the Kauravas party and asked them, Pandavas are happy, satisfied with 5 villages. Still, he tried to convince himself, he tried to convince Kauravas, but still they are not agreed. And since he is the Supreme Lord, he can do anything, and any problem he can solve just like that. But he has given that independence to the living entities. That's why he did not interfere in the independence of the living entities. Where Krishna has given dharma to both the parties. Krishna has given Krishna has in Dhritarashtra's party, he has given so many instructions through the Bhishma and through the many other saintly persons like Vidura. And Pandavas also got the instructions from the Bhishma and Vidura. But Kauravas did not take, and they rejected, and they threw him Vidura from his kingdom. Duryodhana was very agitated by his words. He threw away from his kingdom Vidura. Whereas Pandavas took the instructions from Bhishma and they followed. So even though Krishna is there in between both the parties, he cannot interfere. He is not interfering in the independence of the living entity. Then who are we to interfere in their conflict situations? Okay.
It's real short. What do you say to somebody who says, Prabhu, you give some very profound answers. I love all your answers. I have to ask you, what is your regimen for doing studying or whatever, but you give very profound answers. I like all your answers, actually. But what do you say to somebody like Prahlad?
What?
Like, for example, somebody like Prahlad.
Prahlad?
Like you were mentioning, don't interfere. So naturally, when you hear the word interfere, people have different notions of what interfere means. Don't interfere. And that usually means don't say anything. Sit down, shut up. But Prahlad told Hiranyakashipu for his own benefit. I'm not trying to be the controller. I'm just giving you some other options than your own mind. He says, my dear father, you know, because Hiranyakashipu thought he was the controller because he thought he had control over who lives and who dies. But when he tried to kill Prahlad, he still thought he was a supreme controller. So Prahlad told him, my dear father, you may be a king, but you are not the king. You may be a controller, but you are not the controller. Lord Krishna is the supreme king and controller. Therefore, my dear father, give up your mentality of thinking you're in control. So Hiranyakashipu was thinking, you're interfering, this is disturbance. So sometimes, but we see that Prahlad, there's a difference between disagreeing and disrespecting. Prahlad said, my dear father, I disagree, you're God. But actually, I wish you well. I hope you advance in your Christian consciousness. So sometimes when we hear the notion, we shouldn't interfere with taking a position of Krishna. But from these pastimes, interfering doesn't mean I'm trying to kill somebody's reputation. I'm not trying to kill somebody literally. I just disagree and suggesting some other options on the table. So what do you say to somebody who wants to say something, but they're shot down because they're saying, don't interfere, don't say anything. You know, even if it's Shastra, just, you know, you're interfering, you're trying to be Christian just because you disagree. So what do you say to somebody who's like that, who may be in a lesser position to, you know, really get things done? What do you say to somebody like that?
I don't have anything to say. I just move off from the place. It's like blowing a conch shell in front of deaf person. You know, deaf person, how much ever you blow a conch shell, he will not hear. Similarly, what you will do? You will lose the enthusiasm and you will go away. Similarly, you don't, if Prahlad Maharaj is in a very service attitude, very sweet words he spoke, but Hiranyakashipu didn't listen, then Nrsimhadev has to come and kill him. Similarly, if you, even though you have a service attitude, service mood and humble mood you are telling, if he doesn't listen to your words, then Lord Krishna has to come and interfere in his life. Even Prahlad Maharaj was also is very great devotee of the Lord. What he said is in a requesting manner, he instructs to his father, but he didn't care for him, and he was trying to kill his own son. Then Nrsimhadev has to appear. Then we should wait patiently. Lord Krishna has to appear and do the needful. Right? Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai Gaura Premanande.